Hello. Hello, everyone. My name is Jade S4, and I'm currently an undergraduate student here at the University of Guelph. I would like to welcome you all to the Convocation ceremony for the College of Biological Sciences this afternoon. Before I tell you a little about the ceremony proceedings, I would like to take a moment to identify your closest exits, so you are prepared should we have to evacuate the building for any reason. All exits are marked by the green running man symbol. For those of you seated in the bleacher seats, there are exit doors on the east side of the building along the running track. And for those of you seated on the floor, there are 3 exit doors. For those of you on the left side of the room, you can exit through the door behind you, up the stairs and outside. And for those of you on the right side of the room, there's an exit door at the front and at the back of the room. Should the need arise, the ushers will direct you to the closest exit from the building. And now back to Convocation. The University of Guelph is honored by our graduates, and we take great pride in this Convocation. And in order to allow full attention on Convocation, we do ask that you please silence your phones and electronic devices. Our colleagues from Alumni Affairs are hosting a special social media program developed especially for Convocation. Please share your photos, memories, and advice with graduating students by joining us on social media and using the hashtag #GuelphGrad. The ceremonials used for conferring degrees have evolved over a millennium, and the gowns and hoods represent that history. In general, the gowns for the baccalaureate and the magisteriate degrees are black, and the color of the hood is different for each degree program. The doctorates at the University of Guelph have a bright blue gown, and the honorary degrees are red. The University of Guelph crest, the one that you can see on your Convocation program, also represents her specific history. The emblems in the crest show links with the royal city of Guelph through the white stallion above, our connection to liberal arts through the book, to the sciences through the astrolabe, and our connection to agriculture and abundance through the cornucopia. The University of Guelph motto, Rerum cognoscere causas, is a quote from Virgil. It is variously translated to either mean, happy is the one who is able to ascertain the reason of things, or perhaps to know the meaning of things. The procession of people into the hall is also influenced by ancient tradition. The piper will herald the start of the procession of graduates, the students who are coming to graduate today. This will be followed by the arrival of the mace leading the platform party. The mace is a symbol of authority at the university and will be carried by the beadle. In medieval universities, a beadle was chosen by the instructor to work as an assistant. Today, the beadle is the ceremonial officer of Senate. Following the beadle and mace is the Chancellor, President, members of the administration, the honorees, fellows of the university, members of the board and Senate, and members of faculty and staff. The degrees will be conferred in the order that you see in your Convocation program. The degrees are separated by categories representing the specific degree being awarded within the college. We will begin with doctorates and magisteriates, followed by the baccalaureate degrees. The named reader will present scholars to the Chancellor and President by degree category. As the name of each student is called, the beadle will place the hood over the recipient's shoulders. This moment will be captured, and technology willing, there will be a simultaneous live webcast of the event to allow family members and friends to watch from a distance. The President will greet each student at center stage, and a photograph will be taken. We understand the joy and excitement accompanying such an auspicious occasion, but we do ask that you please hold your applause until after each group of graduates has crossed the stage. There will be an opportunity for a truly thunderous applause. Once all the degrees are conferred and all the cheers are cheered, the Chancellor will close the ceremony and a recessional will play. Again, please take a moment to silence your phones and electronic devices. Please remain standing during the recessional until all the platform party has processed out of the hall, and then remain at your seat for a brief closing announcement about the reception that follows. Finally, may I be the first person to congratulate the graduates on their various successes and offer my sincere congratulations to the family and friends who are here to support them. Welcome to Convocation at the University of Guelph.
while you stand, please consider in your mind and heart the land on which we are gathered together today, and the indigenous peoples whose footsteps have marked this territory for centuries. In particular, we begin by acknowledging the Attawandaron people, and we offer our respect to the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Métis neighbors. In 2013, the prominent New York and Canadian-born writer Malcolm Gladwell released a book titled David and Goliath, based on the premise of an ancient story that took place on a battlefield in Palestine. The story speaks of a shepherd boy who took down a mighty warrior with nothing more than a stone and a sling. It is from this story that Gladwell addresses the notion of underdogs, misfits, and the art of battling giants. He fills each chapter with more stories of victory that were initially pegged as improbable and impossible, and Gladwell uses them to illustrate how much of what is significant in the world has arisen from places of adversity. As I reflect on this book and on the accomplishment each of you are celebrating today, I cannot help but notice the similarities. Many of you have arrived at this place through much adversity. There were obstacles and barriers that seemed insurmountable to cross and overcome, yet here you stand. The question we must ask then is, well, how did you do it? For some of you, it was the unwavering support of family, friends, and community. For others, it was doing the hard work of deciphering what you were best at and using these things to your advantage, as David did with Goliath. For others, it was the ongoing sacrifice of time, treasures, and talents for the goals of standing here today. And in all likelihood, it was some combination of innumerable factors and personal realities. Before we move on, would you join me in taking a moment of silence to express our collective thankfulness of arriving here today? And now, may we be thankful for the journey and for the incredible reality that in some way, each of us represent the story of an underdog defeating a giant. Thank you. You may be seated.
Welcome. Good afternoon. I am delighted to officially open the Spring 2018 University of Guelph Convocation ceremonies and to welcome everyone here. President Vaccarino, Kevin Golding, Chair of the Board of Governors, members of the board, honorary fellows, faculty, staff, family and friends of the graduates, as we celebrate the achievements of our graduating students. I'd like to offer particular welcome to today's special award recipients, who will be introduced more formally a little later. My name is Martha Billis, and I have the honor of serving as Chancellor here at the University of Guelph. It is an honor to be here at my alma mater as Chancellor, particularly during Convocation. Convocation is one of those rare moments where we glimpse past, present, and future all at once. I liken it to a bit of a magic carpet ride. It's a ride that takes us forward and backward at the same time. Forward because, graduands, you will be walking across the stage and into your individual and collective futures. Even if you can't quite discern what that future will be, that's okay. Looking back, I can say that the path which brought me to this spot today is not at all what I thought could ever be possible as I crossed the convocation stage. I wondered, as I suppose you must be wondering, what will my tomorrow look like? What I could see then was that there was room only for my brothers at the growing company of which my father was president, and certainly no room in the company boardroom. Indeed, that was the standard back then, the old boys network of the day. So off I went to begin my career with a job in a research lab at Lever Brothers, and after that at the Ontario Research Foundation. Some years later, I chose to earn my teaching certificate. Not until 1980, which was 17 years after graduating, did I join Canadian Tire, and I entered upstairs into the corporate boardroom. My father had resigned his board position to make a place for me. From that moment on, my path was far from linear. My life had a total reset. My future was expanding. My dreams had acquired the room to evolve. Now, 38 years since joining the company board, I am thrilled and amazed by the success and the evolution of my life, as well as my dreams. If there's a lesson here, it is that life does not always go according to plan. And oh my, there is pain and deep anguish. However, coming out of that, what astounding opportunities sometimes do appear. For myself, I have been the thread which has kept an iconic Canadian retail company strong, Canadian, and expanding. Imbued with strong social values, we dreamed up a successful way to help needy kids across our great country gain access to sport and activities. We named the charity Jumpstart, in keeping with the company's automotive roots. Many here today will already know of Jumpstart's recent national recognition. Please bear with me. It occurred several weeks ago. In honor of Duchess Meghan and Prince Harry's nuptials, by virtue of Canada's royal wedding gift of funds to Jumpstart, each and every Canadian is now a part of the Jumpstart success. Who could have ever dreamed of something like that really happening? Needless to say, no way does this line up within the scope of my wildest dreams. Wow. So, for you graduates, what will be your plan from here? You've demonstrated desire to learn and to use that learning well. You have a degree from one of the top comprehensive and research-intensive universities in Canada, one which is today solving major world challenges. You have developed relationships that will last your lifetime. You have dreams. You are ambitious. My advice, graduates, be more ambitious. You truly can accomplish so much more than is even imaginable. You guys have everyone here rooting for you. It's your turn today. Your turn to make a difference. Your turn to jump in with both feet, to aim for the farthest horizon. Oh, guess what? You'll never get there. And my friends, therein lies the challenge. You just keep on achieving, one dream to the next, and the next, and the next will evolve. Funny thing how dreams and horizons just go on forever. You are off on your very own magic carpet ride. Now it's your turn to make a difference and to achieve tomorrow what you cannot even begin to see today. I know you will succeed, and I am so excited to see what your future holds. Thank you, and good luck to you all.
Well, welcome everyone. My name is Franco Vaccarino, and I have the honor and the great privilege of serving as the President and Vice Chancellor of this great university. So welcome to your convocation. First off, graduates, this is your big day. You've worked hard, you've persevered, and you made it. Well done and congratulations. Now, today you share something in common. You're all, of course, University of Guelph graduates and about to join our University of Guelph alumni family of some 167,000 Griffins in about 150 countries around the world. And of course, you're preparing for this next step on your journey, and I'd like to pick up on the theme that our Chancellor focused on, and that is plans as well as the unexpected as your plans unfold. So let me kick it off with a question for the graduates. How many of you have plans this summer, whether you work, travel, more studies? Right? Most of you, 2/3 of the class have plans. How many of you have no plans whatsoever? Don't be shy. You know, everyone, there's been one. And I'm sure there's at least 5 or 6 others that are good on you. So there's no plans. How many of you have a plan for the next 5 years, let's say? A 5-year plan, right? About half or a third of the class. Now let me stick with that number, 4 or 5 years, and now go back in time. 4 or 5 years when you began your time as an undergraduate here. How many of you had a plan back then? Right, you're thinking about what you're going to major in. Now here's the question, how many of you had those plans completely altered somehow during those past 5 years? Exactly. Always amazed how there's more hands on the second question than the first. I don't know how that happens. So what about those plans? Well, during those years, your years here as students, you've learned, you've worked, and you've lived at one of Canada's top research-intensive and comprehensive universities. You've learned about, of course, your chosen area of study, and likely you've also gained knowledge and understanding about other things, yourselves, each other, the wider world here on campus and beyond. And along the way, along your journey, many of the things you learned and experienced have probably been a bit of a surprise or unexpected. And it's that unexpected piece that I want to talk about, and it's that unexpected piece that provides a challenge for plans. Maybe you took a course to change the way you look at things. Or maybe you encountered a course or a professor or a friend, a colleague whose influence even led you to change your degree program, change your plans entirely. Or maybe you mistakenly just walked into the wrong room on your first day of class. Anyone here done that? Thank you. I'm in that club too. So that's what happened to me at the beginning of my 3rd year as an undergraduate. I finished 2 years at U of T. Going into my 3rd year as an undergraduate, I was rushing off to my social psychology lab class. And I was late for that class. I had planned to major in social psych. It was the first day of the lab class. I was late. Class had already begun. And I walked into the room. I kept my head down, went straight to the first available seat. I didn't want to disrupt the class, which had already begun. It turned out that I had absolutely walked into the wrong room and the wrong lab class. And the way that I knew that was, remember, I'm thinking it's a social psych lab class, but on the counter is a brain, an actual brain sitting on the counter, which you wouldn't typically find in a social psych lab. Well, actually, it was the neuroscience lab class. So there I was sitting there. Now, at that point, I might have simply gotten up and left, and believe me, I considered that. And the first reason I didn't leave was because I felt a little uncomfortable and shy about getting up. I had disrupted the class. Everybody was sitting there. The professor had started speaking. So I felt a little bit uncomfortable doing that. But then I also started reflecting on my situation and thought, well, you know what? It might actually be cool to sit in on this introductory neuroscience lab class, thinking that this was probably the only time that I would ever get a taste of a neuroscience course. So I thought, what the heck? So I decided to stay in this one class thinking I'd catch up on my social class the following week. Well, here's what happened. The class completely blew me away. The professor totally blew me away. It was completely unexpected, and the rest, as they say, is history. I ended up shifting to studying neuroscience as an undergraduate and eventually enjoying an amazing and gratifying career as a professor of psychology and neuroscience for the last 34 years. So years later, here I am at the University of Guelph, where along with my duties as president, I continue to work examining the nature and the impact of brain changes associated with alcohol and drug dependence, as well as mental illness, and I'm involved in national initiatives on policy relating to mental health, drug dependence, as well as some global initiatives as well. So what's the point of all this? Well, there are plans, and then there's planning and responding to those unexpected moments that sometimes might be opportunities. Now, let's be clear, having a plan is very important. Take, for example, University of Guelph, we have a strategic plan called the Strategic Framework for the university, and it's a plan that gives our university important goals and guideposts for our journey moving forward. So a plan's important because it gives you a sense of direction at a particular point in time. But a plan is static, and planning and responding to opportunity is dynamic. It's what allows you to keep moving and adapting your plan as things change around you. And they will absolutely change around you. The unexpected will definitely happen. We live today in a world of unprecedented rapid change with an ever shorter shelf life of knowledge and information. The shelf life of knowledge and information is getting shorter and shorter as new information replaces old information at an unprecedented pace. So situations and contexts change more rapidly now than ever. Today, how you adapt your planning and respond to the unexpected, including expected detours or change of direction, matters a great deal. Also, I would say it's surprising what you can notice when you slow down in the face of the unexpected, in those moments of unexpected. And here the message is, embrace, reflect on, think about, and savor those unexpected moments. Drill down a little bit into them. What I'm really talking about here is the process of discovery. Discovery that comes from paying very close attention to the unexpected. You know, it's interesting to me that the word disruption used to have a generally negative connotation. But today we think of disruption, which is caused by the unexpected, as a creative opportunity to learn, to grow, and to innovate. So think of times in your lives that you considered as defining moments. A few of those I'm sure were planned, but many likely were not. And many of those moments likely felt disruptive. Those aha moments that caused you to kind of rethink things. Now, I suspect that many of us understand and appreciate the importance of adjusting to the unexpected. But here's a challenge. How do you prepare and train for the unexpected? Well, that's where we come back to the past few years for each of you here today. One of the unsung benefits of education is its ability to broaden your view of things. We tend to take this for granted. But a question worth asking is, why is it that a broadened view is necessarily a good thing? Well, I would suggest that it's necessarily a very good thing because, quite simply, a broadened view brings with it greater mental capacity to bring to bear on issues in your lives, to bring to bear on issues of the day, and to accommodate the unexpected, both good and bad. In many ways, a broadened view equals broadened mental capacity. More information, more knowledge, and that you bring to bear. A broader set of goalposts for your view. That broadened view that you've developed in the last few years is basically your enhanced toolkit. Your enhanced mental capacity that allows you to connect the dots in your life in powerful and interesting ways. It's part of what we mean when we talk about nurturing the whole student here at the University of Guelph. And it goes beyond academics alone. We've provided here the opportunity for each of you to broaden your capacity, not just academically, but also socially, emotionally, and physically. We've given you not just the knowledge and information you need, but also the tools to prepare you to respond to change, to help you thrive in what will be amid inevitable uncertainty. So as you head out into this wider world, take time to plan, for sure, and then be open to adapting your plan, even if it means finding opportunities masquerading as a wrong turn or wrong room. Thank you very much, and all the very best to you. Good luck on your journey.
Good evening. My name is Philip Miller, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Human Health and Nutritional Sciences. And it is my pleasure to introduce the first award recipient. The W.C. Weingard Medal is the University of Guelph's most prestigious undergrad student convocation award and is named in honor of Dr. William C. Weingard, a former University of Guelph president. This medal is awarded annually in recognition of both academic achievement and contributions to university and community life. Madam Chancellor, I am honored to present this year's recipient of the William Weingard Medal, Jeremy Seat.
Congratulations, Jeremy. Wonderful.
Jeremy Seed has demonstrated excellence in academics and athletics and has enriched the University of Guelph and the wider community through volunteerism, leadership, and mentorship. A top Bachelor of Science student in biomedical science with a minor in nutritional and nutraceutical sciences, Mr. Seed has studied cardiovascular physiology and the impact of exercise on heart health. He is the co-author of 5 scientific studies published in leading peer-reviewed journals and has demonstrated a deep and sustained commitment to advancing the science of human exercise physiology. He has served more than 700 hours as a supported learning group leader in the University of Guelph's Peer Helper program, assisting other students to succeed in their studies. Originally from Guelph, he has volunteered in the Guelph General Hospital's emergency department and has coached the boys rugby team at Guelph Centennial CVI throughout his undergrad studies. On campus, he has helped lead the varsity men's rugby team to the 2016 Ontario University Athletic Championship and further strengthened his leadership skills through workshops at the Griffin Leadership Academy. A proponent of using sport and fitness to make meaningful and diverse community contributions, Mr. Seed received the President's Trophy for Male Student Athlete for Academic and Athletic Excellence. His academic and athletic excellence, leadership qualities, and commitment to community service and to improving the lives of others make Jeremy Seed highly deserving of the W.C. Weingard Medal.
Hello, my name is Alison Duncan. I'm a professor in the Department of Human Health and Nutritional Sciences here at University of Guelph. And it's my pleasure to present another award. The University of Guelph awards 2 Governor General's Silver Medals each year to 2 graduating students with the highest cumulative average in any undergraduate degree program. And the 2018 recipients of this award are both graduates of the College of Biological Science. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting you the first recipient of the Governor General's Silver Medal, David De Lazari. In his 4 years at Guelph, David has demonstrated outstanding academic achievement. He is graduating with a Bachelor of Science honors degree in biomedical science with a minor in nutritional and nutraceutical sciences. His cumulative average is 96%. David maintained this high level of performance in each semester of his program, earning a grade higher than 90% in 35 of 38 courses and a grade of at least 95% in 27 of those courses. David has twice won the award. David has twice won the Award of Academic Achievement in the Peer Helper program and has been awarded the CBS Dean Scholarship 3 times. In addition to achieving academic excellence, David has been an active member and leader within the university and local community. He has worked in the peer helper programs on campus, volunteered at the Guelph Community Health Center, and served on the executive of the Habitat for Humanity campus chapter. David also participated in and then led Habitat for Humanity trips to Louisiana and South Carolina during each of the last 4 reading weeks, building homes for families in need. And David has also excelled in health research. He worked as a research assistant in the labs at Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto and in the Ontario Veterinary College here at Guelph. While completing advanced studies in human anatomy, he developed innovative educational materials used in community outreach. And for his undergraduate thesis, I had the pleasure of working with David when he studied the influence of dietary lentils on blood glucose levels in relation to diabetes risk. So, Madam Chancellor, I'm sure that you will agree that David de Lazari is an exemplary student and fully deserving of the Governor General's Silver Medal.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Power. I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Human Health and Nutritional Science. It's my honor tonight to present an award to Rhiannon Pinot, a fourth-year research student in my lab. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you the second recipient of the Governor General's Silver Medal. Throughout her 4 years at Guelph, Rhiannon has demonstrated outstanding academic excellence. She is graduating with a BSc honors degree in biomedical science with a cumulative average of 96%. Rhiannon maintained this high level of performance each semester of her program, earning a grade higher than 90% in all 38 of her courses and a grade of at least 95% in 28 of those courses. For these academic achievements, Rhiannon has also been awarded the CBS Student Council Academic Achievement Scholarship, has been on the College Roll of Distinction every year, and has received the CBS Dean Scholarship 3 times. In addition to her academic achievements, Rhiannon has volunteered as a St. John's Ambulance medical first responder, worked in Nicaragua as a medical volunteer, volunteered at the Grand River and Guelph General Hospitals, and was an active member of the University Debating Society and the Ninjutsu Canada Club. She volunteered in research labs in the Department of Molecular and Cellular Biology and the Department of Human Health and Nutritional Sciences. Rhiannon completed her 4th-year project in my lab on the biomechanical changes of aging muscle and presented her work at the Ontario Biomechanics Conference in 2018. Madam Chancellor, I am sure you will agree that Rhiannon Pinel is an exemplary student and fully deserving of the Governor General's Silver Medal.
My name is Byron Sheldrick, and I have the honor of being the Associate Dean Academic for the College of Social and Applied Human Sciences. I'm also the chair of the Board of Undergraduate Studies, which is one of the standing committees of the University of Guelph Senate. I'm here to present the winner of the Walter Vaughan Medal. The Walter Vaughan Medal was established in honor of the late Walter Vaughan, a former secretary of the University of Guelph Senate, and a man who was committed to student involvement in university governance. This award is presented to a student with high academic standing who has made a substantial contribution to student life and to the university, particularly through their involvement in and commitment to Senate activities. Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you this year's recipient of the Walter Vaughan Medal, Rebecca Cheskas. Now, unfortunately, Rebecca couldn't be here this evening. She is traveling, and her hope was to arrive on time, but unfortunately, her travel connections didn't work out. So this means I get to accept it on her behalf, which I'm quite excited about. Rebecca Cheskas is an exemplary student leader who, through her work with the Student Senate Caucus, has left her mark on the broader University of Guelph Senate as a whole and the University of Guelph community. As an executive member of the Central Student Association, Ms. Cheskas aimed to represent all students at the University of Guelph and through on Senate, and to ensure that students were informed and consulted on a range of Senate issues. An international development student, she worked to advance student involvement in decision-making on issues including the Fall Reading Week debate and tuition fees. She demonstrated an ability to engage with all U of G stakeholders, from senior administrators to underrepresented student groups. Her ability to consult with diverse student groups, to communicate effectively, and to ask important questions made her an instrumental student voice on Senate and on the Board of Undergraduate Studies. And I can say, I think, that her opinions and her input was always highly valued and tremendously respected. Articulate and level-headed, Ms. Cheskis has been intentional and respectful in her discussions and negotiations on student issues. She has strived to ensure accessibility in multiple ways, including advocating for staff and faculty training to ensure that students receive high-quality education and ensuring that accessibility requirements for all students are met on campus. Her commitment to furthering academic excellence at the University of Guelph makes Rebecca Cheskis a most worthy recipient of the Walter Vaughan Medal.
I am pleased to invite Dr. Emma Allen Verco to give the convocation address. Doctor?
Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, members of the board, fellow faculty, family, friends, and of course, the class of 2018. Now comes the part of the ceremony for which I have been given a fairly daunting task. And that task is to impart a kernel of wisdom to you, to take with you as you leave this institution of learning and to venture into your future careers. Now, I know that you're all very anxious to get to the fun part of the ceremony, and so I promise I won't take up too much of your time. So what do you want to be when you grow up? This is the question we ask children right from the time that they're old enough to understand that school is a means to an end. And probably you were asked this very question during your childhoods. And maybe your life goals were very clear from the beginning, but the chances are they weren't. And perhaps you are growing concerned that you may still not know precisely what you want to do for the rest of your working lives, even with your newly minted degrees. So if there's one piece of wisdom that I can pass on to you now, I want to tell you that your degree is not just a piece of fancy-looking paper to go into a frame, but it's your key to opportunity. I'd like to take some time to tell you the true story of the unusual start to my career. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a professor of microbiology here at Guelph, but as far back as I can remember, I wanted to be a space scientist. Where my school friends wanted to join the police force or the fire service or to become doctors or nurses, actors or pop stars, I wanted to reach for the stars. From an early age and quite unprompted, I rejected Beatrix Potter and Enid Blyton in favor of popular science books from my parents' bookshelves. In particular, I read voraciously about the moon, the sun, the planets, and the cosmos. I read every book at my local library on astronomy, and I absorbed facts like a sponge, boring my poor family half to death with trivia over the dinner table. I would beg my grandparents to take me to bookstores instead of toy stores to satisfy my insatiable appetite for knowledge. Remember, there was no internet in those days. At age 9, I wrote to NASA by snail mail to ask about career opportunities, and I was ecstatic to receive a package by return mail, including a pamphlet detailing astrophysics as a career direction. Aha! Now I had a title for my future career. And by age 10, I bugged my parents enough that they bought me a telescope, although I'm pretty sure that that was a gift from my dad as well, because he shared a little bit about my interest in space. I continued to read every astronomy book I could get my hands on, and I built models of the solar system with tennis balls and modeling clay, and I took long exposure photos of the night sky to observe star trails. I was your archetypal nerd, and I was very proud of it. And at age 13, I passed a high school level examination in astronomy with a very respectable grade despite no formal instruction. And at age 16, I took an evening course on artificial satellite design at my local university because I expected that it might give me a taste of higher education, and I really couldn't wait. And then, at long last, I found myself anxiously awaiting my university entrance level exam results so that I could apply to university and finally get on with pursuing my dream. But disaster struck, and my highly anticipated career path came to a screeching halt. So what went wrong? Well, it turned out that my grade in math was not nearly high enough to pursue any type of physics as a career. And in fact, I'd been in denial for some time, struggling with math and secretly getting increasingly frustrated and worried about my lack of aptitude despite the enormous amount of effort I was applying. My failure to make the grade led to me to suffering a huge crisis of confidence, and I was rescued by some gentle words from my high school guidance counselor, who persuaded me to consider a very different science degree program that did not rely quite so heavily on math. But still, it was with a very heavy heart that I embarked upon a degree in biochemistry at the University of London in 1990. Now, at first, I did not enjoy my new university life as I felt completely out of my depth in biological science. The lectures felt foreign, and because of that, wholly uninteresting to me, and I started to panic that I'd made the wrong choice. In my second year, I almost dropped out. But I was rescued once again. One of my professors must have seen something in me, and he took me to one side to encourage me to carry out my honours thesis with a placement at a local government lab. I owe so much to my professor, Professor Bramley, for his wisdom, because it was at this placement that I found a whole new world. For it was here that I discovered the science of microbiology for the first time. My life completely changed over the course of 2 short semesters. Instead of outer space, I found inner space. It was as if all of a sudden the doors to my future career had become visible. Before, I'd only seen one door, astrophysics or bust. But now I could see countless microbiology-related doors, all of which were enormously enticing. Now, I've walked through many doors since that time back in the early 90s. Some doors have led to dead ends, and I've had to backtrack briefly to find another, more interesting or useful door to go through. Some doors have led to rich and rewarding experiences about which I have absolutely no regrets. The door to Canada was one of those, and the door to the University of Guelph was another. Some doors have led to crazy surprises, like the opportunity to co-found a research spin-off company a few years ago that makes medicine out of human poop. Yes, really, and that's another story for another day. But my point is, before all of this, while I was single-mindedly on a mission to take one door and one door only, I never stopped to appreciate that I was, in fact, in a passageway that was absolutely crammed full of doors. So my kernel of wisdom to you is this: whether you have a clear view of life's next door or not, take a little bit of time right now to look around yourself. Your hard-won degree from the College of Biological Sciences and the University of Guelph has, I believe, trained you very well as a scientist, regardless of your specialist program or your major, and it has unlocked far larger number of doors than you think. Be mindful that you may not pick the perfect door first time, and that it's okay to backtrack on occasion, but know that with time and practice, picking the right door becomes intuitive. So don't be hesitant, open a door that calls to you, and in turn open yourself up to learn from what you might find behind it. My wish for all of you, dear graduates, is that you will find your perfect doors in life. And you are already off to a fantastic start, because I would suggest that you've already found one of those doors, the door to the University of Guelph. This is the one door that I hope you will come back and use often to visit us. I think I speak for your entire Guelph family here when I say that we're very interested to hear about our graduates' achievements and adventures in life, and so know that you will always be welcome here. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon. I'm Charlotte Yates, Vice President, Academic and Provost at the University of Guelph. Wow, thank you very much for sharing your story, and with that, those inspiring words. But now is the moment, graduates, that you've been waiting for. Can I ask you all to please rise, the graduating class? Madam Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you these scholars who have fulfilled the statutory requirements laid down by the Senate at the University of Guelph that they may be admitted to their various and several degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I hereby accept you for admission to your various and several degrees with all the rights, privileges, and obligations appertaining thereto.
Thank you. Will the graduates please sit down?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Newman. I'm the Dean of the College of Biological Science. You're about to see your graduate come across the stage sooner or later. We'll get to the end. You may be very excited about that, and you may wish to express that excitement in some audible way, and that's absolutely fine, but I would ask the general audience to please hold your applause until we've reached the end of the graduates. Thank you. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science that they may be admitted to the degree Bachelor of Science Honors. Sarah Abulencia Leeming, with distinction. David Robert Aktimachuk, with distinction. Tatiana Adamovich, with distinction. Rebecca Sue Adams. Romeo Agda. Daniela Ahrens. Sorry, that's Ahrens. Michael Alexander. Lavine Tubo Alveza. Michaela Noella Alway. Sarah Margaret Amos. Bethany Ann Anderson. Rebecca Elsie Vivian Anderson. Sarah Marie Anderson. Hyra Anwar. Catherine Victoria Arbor, with distinction. Bailey Jean Marie Arnold. Jenna Sarah Ashley, with distinction. Brenna Lauren Athill. Sumitha Balachandran, with distinction. Vishali Balasubramaniam. Let me say that again. I'm sorry. Balasubramaniam. with distinction. Pablo Balbania. Courtney Barbausa. Sharif Randolph Bartholomew. Rhiannon Bachelor with distinction. Tyler Justin Beatty. Kaylee Joan Beanie with distinction. Clara Elizabeth Beanie with distinction. Cassandra Christine Bendel with distinction. Mackenzie Julia Bernhardt. Simran Mullar with distinction. Alicia Black with distinction. Jarrett Daniel Blair with distinction. Ricardo Blanco Sanchez. Connor Joseph Bocek with distinction. Andrew Baujanka with distinction. Kyra Bolster with distinction. Matthew Gordon Patrick Boston. Kate Elizabeth Bottomley. Dana Catherine Bork with distinction. Alexandra J. Bowman. Heather Rosanna Brandon. Michaela Amanda Bredner with distinction. Megan Carey Brenkel with distinction. Mitchell James Brunet with distinction. Katarzyna Brilka. Brianne Judith Butenhaus with distinction. Alexandria Bumstead. Leanne Michelle Buxton. Caitlin Cabral Costa. Imani Keynes. Rebecca Campbell. Rashida Clarissa Carter. Tiffany Sarah Chang. Caitlin Juliana Charmley. Jacob Jeffrey Chevery. Jenna Ilana Child. Bianca Chesternio. Sarah Miriam Clareman. Thanks. Alicia Christine Clancy, with distinction. Paige Victoria Cochran, with distinction. M. Grace Coker. Megan Elizabeth Connor, with distinction. Thomas James Corazola, with distinction. Sarah Ellen Corcoran. Paige Mary Elizabeth Cornish. Rachel Cynthia Crook, with distinction. Rachel Laura Cunningham. Sarah Elizabeth Curry. Alexia Dapapada. Molly Derbyshire. Mitchell Davison. Jonathan Rees Dean Williams. Isabella Vincenza de Blasi, with distinction. Morgan Nicolette Didau. Michaela Brianne DeYoung. David Joshua Lazari, with distinction. Tatum Del Bosco. Adam DeLu. Paul Del Rio. Andrea Ann DePolis, with distinction. Jenna Nicole De Silva. Ray Erwil Villegas de Villa, with distinction. Ariana Isabella Dewan, with distinction. Brendan William Dickey. Carl Rayner Drackert. Sergio Gabriel Deplia, with distinction. Taylor Lynn Durham, with distinction. Ilinka Alexandra Dutescu. Patrick Allen Easton. Joel Michael Enman. Natalie Elizabeth Louise Evans, with distinction. Stephanie Leanne Evans. Marisa Ann Ait. Shalene Chloe Fayad. Stephen Francis Fuhrer. Jesse Finlay. Gina Fletcher, with distinction. Jacob Fletcher, with distinction. Nicole Michelle Fletcher, with distinction. Brianne Louise Flood. Amber Forwood, with distinction. Barrett Thomas Robert Foster. Stephanie Amber Baxter Foucault, with dog. Maria Fouté Nalong, with distinction. Caitlin Dominique Francis. Megan Elizabeth Friedman, with distinction. Maria Kayla Rees Garland. Krista Gagno, with distinction. Sarina Gandhi, with distinction. Shivam Gandhi. Sarah Catherine Garbett, with distinction. Corey James Gargano. Maxwell Jesse Gelkov, with distinction. Christopher Thomas Gamel. Jacob Alexander Jerovac. Valentina Maria Chisardi. Mariam Gusi. Caitlin Jean-Louise Glufcheski. Rachel Gadino. Christine Alexandra Gortenz, with distinction. Catherine Vandana Gomes, with distinction. Neil Greenwood. Alexandra Elizabeth Groves. Cindy Haw, with distinction. Karen Adele Adley Habib. Samantha Aaron Hall, with distinction. Norman Michael Haller, with distinction. Shanaza Hamdilada, with distinction. Kirsten Michelle Mayumi Hanada, with distinction. Mika Harada. Lauren Marie Harding, with distinction. Kara Helena Jenny Harmon, with distinction. Danielle Marie Henricks. Elizabeth Marie Hewitson. Marika Hannibal. Natasha Suzanne Edith Hope. Andrew Scott Horn, with distinction. Michelle Zoe Hotchkiss, with distinction. Sarah Cassidy Howard, with distinction. Alexandra Hughes Byzantine, with distinction. Clarissa Jane Huseman, with distinction. Madison Anna Mae Hunter. Isra Hussein, with distinction. Monica Isabel Indersky, with distinction. Mariam Jabri. Emma Catherine Jackson. Alvin James, with distinction. Lauren Ashley Yonka. Courtney Marie Johnson. Ellery Blair Johnson. Haley Joanne Johnston. Michaela Johnston Clayton, with distinction. Eileen Cow, with distinction. Caitlin Jean Karmazin. Olena Marie Clausen, with distinction. Chloe Emily Knispal. Jordan Coe. Jonathan Charles Cope, with distinction. Jared Brandon Krebs, with distinction. Courtney Francis Kupka. Young Kyung Kwan, with distinction. Marit Orvaki Lakso. Emily Lai, with distinction. Amar Leila, with distinction. Patrick Lamarant. Emily Landon. Kira Lapointe. Samantha Lau, with distinction. Emma Lawrence, with distinction. Keegan Amaranda Leclerc. Victoria Diana Lessie, with distinction. Rachel Christine Lichty. Yifan Liu, with distinction. Nancy Jean Luigi, with distinction. Evan Lukasik, with distinction. Kevin Mackenzie Ludovich, with distinction. Samantha Jane Lister, with distinction. Allison Pamela McDonald. William Brandon McDonald, with distinction. Carly McIntyre. Erin Elizabeth McIsaac, with distinction. Monica Mackey. Timothy Eric Norman McLeod, with distinction. Simran Maden, with distinction. Christelda Monahan, with distinction. Mark Jonathan Mariner, with distinction. Jade Patricia Marrow, with distinction. Erica Lee Marshall, with distinction. Chelsea Hope Martin. Natasha Celine Martin. Melissa Martins, with distinction. Catherine Grace Matsushita, with distinction. Claire Josette Ann Mazia, with distinction. Mark Thomas McCarthy. Allison Lee McDonald. Sarah Josina McDonald, with distinction. Fletcher McGill. Lindsay Elizabeth James McKenzie, with distinction. Chelsea Katharina McShane. Emily Rose Melchiori. Erin Jean Mia, with distinction. Natalia Migdal. Jordana Haven Mirsky, with distinction. Rebecca Marie Moffett. Fiona Mackay Maloney, with distinction. Daniela Camila Alfonso Montague. Lauren Morante. Laura V. Cura Morante. Marielle Zahava Morris, with distinction. Carly Margaret Morrison. Lauren Muncy. Aiden Bruce Potter Murray, with distinction. Gokulan Nagbaskaran. Brooke Naren. Chris Victor Naidianov, with distinction. Benjamin William Nilapovitz, with distinction. Christopher Noakes. Agatha Nowakowski, with distinction. Joseph Nowlin. Olivia Noachoka. Lindsay Marie Abris, with distinction. Lynette Ashley O'Brien. Adriana Maria Oleszewski, with distinction. Oriolua Joy Orishajo. Aaron Ormiston. Karen Ostrander. Megan Ostrahan, with distinction. Peniota Palashia. Emily Lane Papagiannis. Candace Jane Park, with distinction. Emily Claire Payton, with distinction. Danielle McQuinn Mayers Pierce, with distinction. Trevor Gary Jordan Peters. Gleannon Helen Kelly Parrott, with distinction. Sarah Rose Perry. Victoria Catherine Petrocelli, with distinction. Lisa Karen Phelps, with distinction. Bridget Alexis Margaret Pilon. Rhiannon Alexandra Mumby Pinnell, with distinction. Anne Isabel Pretty. Joseph Robert Radford, with distinction. Anna Ragubar. Shayna Kate Rack, with distinction. Forshini Ramasubramanian. Kinu Ramsahoy, with distinction. Jessica Rees. Alexandra Ann Reynolds, with distinction. Amira Dion Rege. Francesca Angela Rinaldo, with distinction. Sarah Rizakos, with distinction. Shelby Taylor Roberts Littlejohn. Colin Ray Robertson, with distinction. Christina Rocco, with distinction. Jill Johanna Rodenhouse. Christine Marie Villanueva Rodrigo. Elizabeth Page Rollo, with distinction. Sierra Nicole Rosiana. Jessica Ruffalo, with distinction. Madison Jane Russell, with distinction. Sarah Denise Ruthig, with distinction. Mackenzie Taylor Ryan. Elizabeth Ann Richlick. Michelle Sadaka. Sierra Marie Sampson. Monica Sanago, with distinction. Jeremy Daniel Seed, with distinction. Mackenzie Sheridan. Chelsea J. Sherrington. Sarah Shin, with distinction. Nicole Anna Sidor, with distinction. Maxwell Isaac Silver, with distinction. Ashley Lynn Smith, with distinction. Emily Catherine Smith, with distinction. Tawny Lee Snow, with distinction. Max Solish, with distinction. Montana Elizabeth Speed, with distinction. Brittany Barbara Stanton. Ellen Maybelline Steele, with distinction. Caitlin Marie Stenmark. Joanna Siobhan Stewart, with distinction. Noel Christian Sullivan, with distinction. Kylie Alexandra Suari, with distinction. Carly Jolie Swigger, with distinction. Caleb Thomas Seipkis, with distinction. Holly Elizabeth Shapansky, with distinction. Justin Tang. Dana Leanne Tengay. Zumara Tanweer, with distinction. Tanisha Tamara Tilak Singh, with distinction. Ian James Thompson. Sean Michael Thompson. Nicholas Alexander Thiessen, with distinction. Jessica Alexandra Tolton. Rima Toop. Bailey Vashon, with distinction. Alex Van. Taylor Marilyn Van Bellehem. Sarah Lynn Vanderkaden, with distinction. Sally Caitlin Van Horn. Emma Claire Van Lieshout, with distinction. Balakaren Weluolu, with distinction. Clandestine Joy Vernez, with distinction. Emily Villeneuve. Shalin Shivam Vohora. Ryan Stewart Waynes, with distinction. Alicia Wolchek Moladali, with distinction. Ashley Jade Warman. Ellen Warachuk. Penny Elizabeth Welch. Victoria Wang, with distinction. Shannon Morgan Wheeler. Sienna Williams. Haley Olivia Williams. Sarah Elizabeth Wismer, with distinction. Jessica Marie Wood, with distinction. Rachel Lorianne Wood. Emmadine Brianna Woolsey, with distinction. Tracy Yoon, with distinction. Elizabeth Genevieve Zeldenrust, with distinction. Saran Zevkar. Paula Marie Zonefeld. I'm just going to keep going. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you these scholars from the College of Biological Science that they may be admitted to the degree Bachelor of Science, General. Claire Alexandra Drury. Tiffany Celine Garcia. Jesse Lee Hanlon. Monica Kowalik. Liam Kunick, with distinction. Abdullah Omar, with distinction. Olivia Melissa Melina Secord. Madam Chancellor, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you this scholar from the College of Biological Science that she may be admitted to the degree Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences. Jacqueline Ann White. Please join me in congratulating all of the graduates.
that's a wonderful way to celebrate these wonderful graduates' achievements. Madam Chancellor, I would ask you to confer the various and several degrees on the graduates listed in the program but unable to be present at this ceremony.
By virtue of the authority vested in me and in the University of Guelph, I confer the various and several degrees in absentia on the graduates not present.
Well, graduates, you did it. Congratulations. Well done. Well, let me take this opportunity now to welcome all of you to the Griffin alumni family. A growing family, of course, joined today by some 700 new graduates. University of Guelph alumni now number, as I had mentioned earlier, more than 167,000 graduates around the world. And as you can imagine, we're all incredibly proud of your accomplishments here at the university and look forward to seeing how the foundations that you've developed here will continue to support you in the years to come. We want to celebrate your achievements and your successes and hope that you will stay in touch. Remember that you're always, always welcome here. Graduates, you've made many memories here at the university, I'm sure, including today's ceremony. Remember this as well. You are a student for a short time, but you're a Griffin forever. Well done. Well done. Now, this concludes our formal convocation ceremonies, and I will mention that the college deans will host a reception for all graduates and their guests on Reynolds Walk, just out the front doors here, after the ceremony. And this will be the first ever alumni reception for you as new graduates. And maybe just a few very, very final words here. Of course, as your journey ends for you here today, another, as we know, begins. And I encourage you all to take a moment, maybe actually right now, to savor what it feels like to be at this particular turning point, at this particular punctuation mark in your journey. From here, your journey takes you down many roads, I'm sure, and many of those roads, as you look back in the years to come, will have begun right here at the University of Guelph. So you leave here today, but part of you, in many ways, remains here. You will find yourself back on campus from time to time, perhaps for a reunion, or for some gathering, and each time you return will be an opportunity to reconnect, to reflect, and to recharge, maybe even to reharness some of the enthusiasm and the anticipation, as well as the eagerness, and yes, even some of that nervous energy that you might be feeling right now. So remember to come back, or at least keep in touch, even if only to check in on that part of yourself that will always remain here at the University of Guelph. Again, I invite everyone to attend the reception, and now, as tradition has it, the last word is for our Chancellor.
Convocation is dismissed.
Congratulations, everyone. And you know you're welcome. Please come back and visit often. We're going to ask for a little bit of your help because there's a lot of you to return your gowns, but we want you to first get a heap of photos to remember this day by with your family and friends. And then when you do return, they go to the old part of the building and there'll be signage over there to point to the way. Now, I don't know how you're going to do better than a standing ovation, but I'm going to ask you to turn it up. You ready? One more time. You did it. Woo! And now you're officially dismissed.